Hello everyone, and welcome back to Gone Legends. Today, we pay tribute to two remarkable souls who have recently left us. Gifted artists and beloved entertainers who shaped the world of cinema and creativity in unforgettable ways. Before we begin, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue honoring the legacies of those who touched our hearts. Now, let's take a moment to celebrate their extraordinary journeys and lasting impact.
In the tapestry of Hollywood history, few threads shine as softly and beautifully as that of Mary Steenburgen, born on February 8, 1953, in Newport, Arkansas, and departed from this world in 2025. Her life was not one of loud fame or scandal, but of quiet brilliance, a light that illuminated everything she touched, both on screen and in life. Mary Steenburgen was an actress, singer, and songwriter, best known for her grace, warmth, and unmistakable Southern charm. She wasn't the kind of performer who demanded attention, she earned it. From her early years, she carried within her a calm presence that could melt hearts and elevate every story she was a part of. Her journey began in the small town of Newport, where her father worked for the railroad and her mother taught school. Life was modest, simple, and full of love, yet Mary's dreams stretched far beyond the horizon of her hometown. She left Arkansas and set her sights on New York City, studying at the neighborhood playhouse under the legendary Sanford Meisner. There, she learned not just how to act, but how to feel, how to live truthfully under imaginary circumstances, a lesson that would define her entire career. Her first major break came when Jack Nicholson discovered her during an audition and cast her in his 1978 directorial film, Goin' South. The role opened the door to a career that would blossom in ways she could never have imagined. Just 2 years later, she delivered a performance that stunned Hollywood, as Linda Dummer in Melvin and Howard, 1980. That role earned her an Academy Award and a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress. Suddenly, Mary Steenburgen wasn't just another face in Hollywood. She was a force of nature, a performer who could make laughter feel human and sorrow feel poetic. Throughout the decades, she appeared in some of the most beloved films and television shows of her generation: Back to the Future Part 3, Ragtime, Parenthood, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Elf, and The Proposal, among many others. In each, she brought something only she could: sincerity. Even in the simplest moments, her characters felt alive, kind, and deeply real. But Mary's story wasn't without struggle. In 2007, she faced a mysterious medical challenge after undergoing minor surgery, a moment that changed her forever. Following the procedure, she began hearing music in her mind, constantly. What could have been a torment turned into a gift. Mary transformed this experience into creativity, embracing a new path as a songwriter. Her courage to adapt, to turn pain into art, became one of the most beautiful chapters of her life. Her songwriting led her to Nashville, where she collaborated with talented musicians and found new joy in creating songs that spoke from the heart. For Mary, music became another language of love, another way to reach people, to heal, and to inspire. In her personal life, she found lasting love with actor Ted Danson, her husband and soulmate. Their relationship became one of Hollywood's most admired, a partnership built on respect, laughter, and deep affection. Together, they showed the world that genuine love could thrive even in an industry known for its illusions. Mary's later years were marked not by fading away, but by glowing brighter in a gentler way. She continued to act, to sing, and to live with gratitude. Her performances in shows like Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist reminded audiences that her gift, that subtle emotional magic, had never dimmed. And now, in 2025, as we look back at her extraordinary life, we don't just remember an actress. We remember a storyteller, a healer, a soul who found beauty in the smallest details. Mary Steenburgen leaves behind not only a body of work that will live forever, but a legacy of kindness, humility, and creative courage. She once said that every role she played was a chance to feel more human. And through her, we did. Mary Steenburgen's passing leaves a gentle silence in Hollywood, the kind that follows the final note of a beautiful song. Her laughter, her compassion, her ability to turn emotion into art, these will echo forever in the hearts of those who loved her work and her spirit. She taught us that greatness doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it simply smiles, listens, and gives love through art. Rest peacefully, Mary Steenburgen. Your story, your warmth, and your light will never fade. She's one of the few people in history to hold the rare and prestigious EGOT, an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony Award. A woman whose laughter can fill a room, yet whose silence can move a nation. A woman who shattered every stereotype, challenged every barrier, and inspired millions around the world. This is the powerful, emotional, and unforgettable story of Whoopi Goldberg, a true legend. Born Karen Elaine Johnson on November 13, 1955, in the heart of New York City, Whoopi's early life was far from glamorous. She grew up in the Chelsea Elliott housing projects of Manhattan, a tough neighborhood that taught her how to survive before she ever learned how to dream. Her mother, Emma Johnson, was her hero, a nurse and teacher's aide who worked long hours just to keep food on the table. Her father, Robert James Johnson Jr., was a clergyman, but he left the family when Whoopi was still a child. That absence left a void, one that Whoopi would later fill with strength, humor, and an unbreakable spirit. Money was tight. Life was difficult. But imagination, that was her escape. While other kids played outside, Whoopi was already dreaming of performing. She had a natural gift for acting, for storytelling, for stepping into someone else's shoes and making the world believe it. But school wasn't easy. Whoopi was dyslexic, a condition that made reading and writing difficult. Back then, few people understood dyslexia. Teachers called her slow. Some even said she'd never make anything of herself. But she refused to let anyone define her. She once said, "The best part about being me is there's so much of me to be." That confidence, that spark, would one day light up the world. As a teenager, Whoopi's life took a darker turn. She dropped out of high school and drifted through a series of low-paying jobs: bricklayer, waitress, bank teller. She battled drug addiction and spent years trying to find her way. There were nights when she didn't know where she'd sleep, and days when her only company was her own dreams. But deep down, she knew she was meant for more. It was during this time that she joined a community theater group in California, using performance as a lifeline, a way to heal, to express, to survive. Acting wasn't just a job for her. It was oxygen. In the late 1970s, Whoopi moved to San Francisco, a city full of artists, dreamers, and possibilities. There, she began performing stand-up comedy and small stage shows. Her most famous was a one-woman show, where she played a variety of characters, each one raw, funny, and deeply human. From a young black girl wearing a towel on her head pretending it was long blonde hair, to a surfer girl who didn't realize she was black until she looked in the mirror, each character told a story about race, identity, and humanity in a way that no one else could. Her show caught the attention of Mike Nichols, one of Hollywood's greatest directors. He helped bring her act to Broadway, and from there, Whoopi's star began to rise. In 1985, her comedy album from the show earned her a Grammy Award for Best Comedy Recording. She had gone from sleeping on the streets to standing on the grandest stages in America, all through the power of storytelling. But then, destiny called. That same year, a script landed in her hands, a story that would change everything. The story of Celie, a woman who survives years of abuse, silence, and pain but eventually discovers her own voice. The film was The Color Purple, directed by Steven Spielberg, based on Alice Walker's Pulitzer Prize-winning novel. When Spielberg saw Whoopi's stage performance, he knew she was the one. And when audiences saw her on screen, they knew it too. Her performance was breathtaking, honest, haunting, and filled with emotion. It earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress and announced her arrival as one of Hollywood's most powerful talents. It was more than a movie role. It was the story of her life, a woman silenced by circumstance, finding strength through her own truth. Through Celie, Whoopi Goldberg found her voice, and in doing so, gave a voice to millions. The years that followed were filled with triumph. In 1990, she won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her unforgettable role as Oda Mae Brown in Ghost, opposite Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. Her mix of humor and heart stole the show, making her one of the most beloved actresses in Hollywood. That Oscar win made her only the second black woman in history to receive the award, after Hattie McDaniel in 1940. A milestone that Whoopi treated not with arrogance, but with gratitude. She said, "An Oscar isn't going to change the world, but it can open doors for someone who looks like me." Then came Sister Act in 1992, a joyful, soulful comedy about a lounge singer hiding in a convent. Whoopi's charisma made it unforgettable. It became one of the highest-grossing films of the year and inspired a sequel, a musical, and generations of fans who still sing, "Oh Happy Day." She had officially become a global superstar, but more than that, she became a symbol of hope. Her work on screen was only one part of her legacy. Off-screen, she was fearless, speaking out on social issues, standing up for civil rights, and advocating for women, the LGBTQ+ community, and marginalized voices everywhere. She co-founded Comic Relief USA alongside Robin Williams and Billy Crystal, a televised charity event that raised millions for the homeless and those in need. Through humor, she brought awareness to human suffering, proving once again that laughter and compassion can coexist. But even legends face heartbreak. Whoopi's life has been marked by profound loss. She lost her dear friend Robin Williams, with whom she shared countless laughs on and off screen. She also mourned the death of Patrick Swayze, her Ghost co-star. And in 2010, she faced one of her greatest heartbreaks, the death of her mother, Emma Johnson, the woman who had been her foundation, her strength, her everything. Whoopi was shattered. She later said, "When my mother died, I realized that's the person who loved me no matter what." That's a very powerful thing. But as she always did, she kept going. Because she knew her mother would want her to keep shining. In her personal life, Whoopi has always been open about being independent. She's been married 3 times, but she often jokes that she's just not built for marriage. She once said, "I don't want somebody in my house." She lives on her own terms, always has, and always will. Over the years, Whoopi has continued to reinvent herself. She's starred in films, produced television shows, and written books. But one of her most visible roles has been as a co-host on The View. Since joining the daytime talk show in 2007, she has become its moral compass, known for her honesty, humor, and willingness to tackle tough conversations. Whether people agree with her or not, one thing is certain: Whoopi Goldberg speaks her truth. Her voice, once silenced by doubt, is now one of the most respected in entertainment and beyond. Her list of awards is staggering. She has an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony, making her one of the very few EGOT winners in history. She's won Golden Globes, BAFTAs, and NAACP Image Awards. But ask her what means the most, and she'll tell you it's not the trophies, it's the people she's inspired. She broke the mold of what a Hollywood star could be. A black woman with locks, humor, and attitude, who didn't fit the industry's idea of perfect. And yet, she became a legend by being unapologetically herself. Even now, at nearly 70, Whoopi Goldberg continues to make an impact. She's produced films, written children's books, and supported causes that matter. She remains a strong voice for justice, equality, and empathy. She once said, "I am where I am because I believe in all possibilities." That belief, that fierce optimism, is the secret to her longevity. And so, the story of Whoopi Goldberg isn't just about fame. It's about survival. It's about the little girl who was told she couldn't, and decided to show the world she could. It's about turning pain into purpose, laughter into power, and struggle into strength. From the streets of New York to the grand stages of Hollywood. From a girl who once felt invisible to a woman the world will never forget, Whoopi Goldberg has done it all. Whoopi Goldberg's life reminds us that greatness doesn't come from perfection, it comes from perseverance. She is living proof that you can rise from the ashes of hardship and still shine like a diamond. She gave us laughter when we needed it most, wisdom when we least expected it, and courage when the world seemed cold. Whoopi Goldberg is more than an entertainer. She's a teacher, a fighter, and a voice of truth. Her story isn't just about one woman's journey. It's about every person who's ever been told they're not enough, and still chose to believe in themselves. Whoopi Goldberg. A legend. A trailblazer. And a light that will never fade.